Welcome everyone to this Global Health Connector Partnership session. My name is Brian O'Connor. I'm sorry I can't be with you in person there in no doubt warm Florida. Where I am, it's not warm, but welcome anyway. The purpose of this couple of minutes is just to explain to you how the Global Health Connector came about. Almost exactly 2 years ago, March 2020, I think all of us began to realize there was going to be a pandemic. I'm not sure we called it that then, it was just the virus then. But as you will all know, it became a global pandemic. And so when you sit in lockdown and try to figure out, what can I personally do? What can my organization do to deal with a global pandemic? Your first reaction generally is not a lot. But of course, that is just simply not true. The reality is that when you actually think about it, each of us have a personal responsibility to our fellow human beings. And secondly, we have all of us powerful organizations around us, whether they be public, private, doesn't really matter. As the saying often goes, this particular pandemic has forced us to deal with this global pandemic. We needed a global response. That response began by a call from me to a number of our friends around the world to say, what can we collectively do? And so it began. Just one thought for all of you as we consider what do we do next during this session. I was reading recently, that the number of people who have died from COVID, at least those who are recorded as having died, the number is thought to be much higher. It's actually almost 6 million people. We should just think about that for a moment, because 6 million people is more than the population of a number of small countries. Those 6 million people who died have relatives, friends, and a community. We all know someone, probably, I do, certainly, who has died from this dreadful virus. So sometimes statistics, we get so used to statistics, we become blasé. But those are real people, real families, real communities affected. So what? What can we do about it? Well, instead of talking, we're doing. You'll hear from Rachel in a moment as to what the Global Health Connector is doing around the world. My message to you today is this: join us, help us. We have not stopped. People say the pandemic's over. I'm not so sure, and I'm not even a doctor, but I would say this to you. It is still having a significant impact around the world. And then look at what's coming after. We already know when you look at waiting lists, which were bad before the pandemic, are much worse now. So people are not, in fact, ready, the systems are not ready to treat people. So we know this is not over in the sense that we will continue to have major issues to deal with, whether you call them pandemics, waiting lists, whatever it may be. The good news is that one of the things we've all learned during this last couple of years is that by working together, we can actually make a difference. We can actually change things. There's a greater realization around the world that the way to work is to work together, because that accelerates not just innovation, but just accelerates relationships on which innovation and business is built. So I hope you enjoy your time there at this session. You're going to hear from some great speakers from around the world. But remember this, at the end of the session, I'd like each of you to think, what am I doing? What can I do? We're one of those channels that you could use. So come join us and join the Global Health Connector Partnership. Over to you, Rachel. Thanks very much.